joy, it's a pleasure, it's always an honor to be greeting my people all around the world, those who are open-minded and those who are willing to grow and expand in life. Today, in this lecture, we're going to discuss disasters such as hurricane, God, and your common sense. And this is a very, very important topic around this time, especially for the people who live in the Caribbean islands and what is happening in the Caribbean islands right now. It is very, very, very important that you be open-minded and that you be willing to listen and be willing to unlearn and relearn and reprogram your subconscious mind. Now, the things that I'm going to discuss this morning is for people who are more self-conscious, self-aware, self-actualized, and in general, people who have evolved. This discussion is for evolved people, people who have evolved to another level of thinking and understanding. This is not really for the one-track-minded people, for the religious and superstitious minds, because things might be said that might offend you. I might rub you the wrong way, okay? And all I'm doing is just sharing my experience and the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that I would have gotten from my own experience, which these experiences that I'm speaking about, they have always been mystical experiences, and they will continue to be mystical experiences because of my gift. Okay. So many people are quite aware of disasters such as hurricanes, and we're going to discuss that. But I want to let you know that the element of earth, wind, water, and fire is what will always constitute any disaster. And the element of earth, wind, water, and fire, it is all linked to a true spiritual awakening. You see, anyone who have had experience of a true spiritual awakening will experience the wind. They will experience the spark, the fire, the flame, okay, that they are. The breath that you breathe, the inhalation, the exhalation, you will hear it in a more magnified way, like a storm wind. You will experience also the earthquake, the shaking, the reverberating of your body, the vibration. You experience yourself as the energy. You'll experience frequency. You'll experience all these things. Okay? And all of these disasters comes to you based on the elements. So they are more spiritual than physical. And that's the most important thing I want you to get from what has been transpiring in the Caribbean. Because right now there's a great feast that is happening in the Caribbean islands. And the great feast that is happening is an energy feast. It is where entities are feasting on the emotions of people. These entities, they are astral parasites. They lurk in the dark. You can't see them, with your physical eyes, but they're there. They're ancient and they're very intelligent. And they feed on your emotion. Now they're having a great feast in Jamaica. They're having a great feast in Trinidad. They're having a great feast in Venezuela, in Cuba, in all of these islands. They've been targeted. They've been targeted for harvest, energy harvest. And so, because they have already studied the mindset of the people in the islands, they know how to harvest their energy. They know exactly what to do to them because they understand their psychology and also their economy. You see, the word economy and economics, the E represent energy. You see, money is energy. You see, energy cannot be created, it cannot be destroyed, but it can be transmuted through the science of alchemy. Well, this science of alchemy that I'm speaking about, where you can transmute your energy into your reality, it is a harvesting and it is a mining. Just like how in Africa and those places they mine gold and so on. You have to understand in the astral world, the same thing is taking place. But this kind of mining is not the kind of mining where you mine gold. So when these countries move in to these places that have all these valuable things in the earth, where they can get rare earth, where they can get gold, diamond, you name all of these valuable things, okay? They have the apparatus or the machinery to harvest it. Well, these astral parasites is in exchange with certain people who know these ancient secrets. That is why 1% will always be over the majority or over the masses. So, because the people, like for example, in Jamaica, have a certain kind of mindset, okay, they decided that with the help of Sun, CERN, check out Sun, okay, to elevate and magnify this storm. Because what happened, right, is that these storms could be magnified, like hurricanes, they could be magnified to become stronger, to cause more devastation, so that there will be a bigger harvesting of people's emotion, the energy, because of the ignorance. That is why this knowledge is very, 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 very important. So the trick is, billionaires, even if it's trillionaires, decide to help the people of Jamaica, it's not a help. Because what they need is not financial help. They're tricking you. What they need is spiritual and psychological help. Let me run that again. Because I tell you, this one gonna rub some people the wrong way. Because many people like to play the victim game. Many people like to play the crying game. Many people like to play the beggy game. And Jamaicans like to play that game, that beggy game. And somebody have to correct them. Somebody have to tell them that they're more valuable than the things they lost. For example, a certain YouTuber from Jamaica was on the internet, always with his sad story and giving away his valuable energy, talking about he lost everything. And everyone in the comment, you can tell the people in the comment was sick and tired of this beggy mentality and this victim mentality and this worshipping of the things that are on the outside, the material things. And he keeps saying, I lost everything. And everybody keeps saying, bro, you haven't lost everything. You have life. That's the most important thing. They keep telling him that because he believed that his sad story, and this was a big opportunity for charity. But charity is something that used to blind you. Gifts just blind you. Okay. And so you're going to see how quickly millionaires, multimillionaires, even billionaires going to volunteer to trick these people in Jamaica to make them believe that they're getting financial and economic help when that is not what they need. Let me run that again. I need to run that over and over. What the people need is spiritual and psychological help. That's what they need. It's a game. And I'm telling you how to play the game and how to understand the game. And all the greedy, and I'm telling you, Jamaica have some of the greediest YouTubers on this planet. The greediest YouTubers on this planet. They have no empathy. They have no love for what and what happened around them. It's just an opportunity to make more and more videos to get YouTube money. And what they fail to realize, if you have something like vidIQ, you can go on anyone's YouTube channel and see how much they make and how much YouTube pay them. I challenge anyone to check out and see how much YouTube pay me, and you realize they shadow ban me. Why? Why they didn't just delete me? Because they want to hear me. They want to continue to hear me. Because they realize that this just is not just a man just blowing air out his mouth. And I will continue to do what I am doing out of love. Not trying to use the opportunity of what they refer to as a disaster, which is basically a harvesting of people's energy and their emotion, okay, that been put together, discuss around tables, okay, before it ever happened. Just like what's happening right now with the gathering of army in the Caribbean and the Caribbean Sea, what's happening in Trinidad, all of these things are things been already discussed around table, okay, wanted to take Venezuela oil and Venezuela mineral and all of these things. These are things that were discussed around table. And then they use drugs to say that they come in to eradicate drugs. When they are the center of drugs. Americans use the most drugs. They're addicted to fentanyl. Fentanyl doesn't come from Venezuela, it comes from Mexico. So all of these things right now, there's so much fear in the Caribbean right now among the people. And who is behind it? The presidents, the prime ministers, the politicians, the preachers, all of these people is who is preparing the great harvest for these astral beings, these subtle energies, these astral vampires are parasites. And when I speak about astral vampires and parasites, this is not just a man just talking. I'm talking from experience. I've battled these church people and religious people call them demons. They're not demons. They're very intelligent, ancient energies and entities that certain people on this planet know about them, and they do exchange with them, they do business with them. You are the commodity that they do business with them with. And what is the commodity? It's your energy, your emotion. They feed on it. They as I'm saying to you, they lurk in the dark and in the night when you're asleep. That's when they're reaping. All these people in churches today, they're preparing them for harvesting tonight. Yes, these entities gonna move in while they sleep on the bed. They're not gonna feel a thing. Some of them, when they do have the experience, they're gonna say, oh, something squeezed them, and they call on Jesus and they get checked. You know, Jesus. What they do, they brainwash you, they shape your mind to believe in a God on the outside. That is why, for example, many people they were praying before the storm, praying while in the storm, and then praying after the storm, and they have the guts to say it is God that keep them safe. You see how blind and delusional a person can be? If God couldn't stop the storm, Why is it now? Because you're alive, you're saying it is God that keep you alive. Then who killed the sheep and the goat and the cattle and all of the livestock? If God is the one who kept you alive, then who allowed the churches in Jamaica to blow to the ground, to rubble? If that is so, you see, in these times, you wouldn't see these bare-faced preachers and false prophets and false prophetess speaking. No, they go silent, just like in COVID. They all went silent. They all went dormant until after COVID. Then they start blowing them out again, talking about God tell them this and God tell them that, and they prophesying this and they prophesying that. If you look in Jamaica, in Black River and in St. Elizabeth, where they had some of the most devastation, no church standing there. The biggest church which they had there is only one part of it you can see. Everything been devastated, which God would devastate the place that his people gathers, that they call the house or the temple of God. You see, it is because they brainwash you from knowing that this body, your body is the temple. Because they brainwash you to think that we are living here alone. We are not here alone. You see, because many of them, they never communicate with any other being other than the physical ones that they're seeing. They never get in touch because they're not on the right frequency. And then they brainwash you with fake Christianity to make you believe that any entity that could contact you in the spiritual realm that is a demon, and they never really give you a true explanation of a demon. And they never enlighten you to understand the mind and how the mind works. They never educate you about your subconscious mind. And they will never do it. For example, all the people is in this so-called disaster area, because they call it a disaster when everything is working together for your good. They call it a disaster when everything that is happening, it can be found within. The wind can be found within. The fire can be found within. The earth, which is this avatar. All of the organs. All of these things go back to the element. It is just teaching you that the element could destroy. It could pull down. But the same element could use to uplift you and elevate you. That's why if you practice mindful breathing, if you practice calming your mind down, shutting down that monkey mind, that ego mind, that chattering mind, if you do all of these things, you're going to get the opposite. Because at the end of the day, it boils back down to economics. So the people in Jamaica, that the interviewers, especially Fox Weather, okay, and these other Caucasian people that come down to Jamaica, they make sure they came down before the storm because they know it was inevitable that they get the storm and the storm was going to happen. They knew it before, long before. That's why they was there before. They were so sure. Just as how they're so sure they're gonna invade Venezuela. They're sure. They know they're gonna invade Venezuela because they have to strengthen their empire. China is strengthening their empire. Russia is strengthening their empire. So they have to strengthen their empire, and they would need more wealth to strengthen their empire. So why not invade Venezuela and take their oil, take their mineral to strengthen their empire? It is logical. Even the blind can see, okay, all of America's propaganda. America have used propaganda to overthrow governments all around the world. Take the people's wealth, strengthen themselves, and keep the people in spiritual and psychological blindness. Do you realize how much people in Jamaica who so spiritually and psychologically blind? That's why they're trying to use the internet for people to have pity with their beggy mentality, crying and carrying on. My country, okay, experienced a devastating hurricane called Beryl. Down in the Grenadines, Union Island, okay, everybody's home was flat on the ground and no one went on the internet bawling and crying and begging like Jamaicans do. None. And all these people, 1 year later, many of them back in their homes. You're supposed, if you build a home, you're supposed to make sure it's insured. If you buy a vehicle, your vehicle is supposed to be insured. So all of this crying and begging, it is time for people to get rid of this mental disease called poverty. It is a mental disease. And Jamaicans, they're so invested in academic education. Up to this day, they cannot realize that academic education do not empower you to break the cause of poverty, because a mental disease, okay? And the school, it was first a thought. It was first an idea. It was first imagine the book. It was first a thought. It was first an idea. It was first imagine. It's all mental. So the mind is greater than any university there is. People in my country, there's no university, and people in my country think it's a luxury to travel to Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, and these other islands to go in a university, and they give them student loan, and then they have to come back here and get a job, work with the government for at least 5 more years. They have to do that because that's the terms that they sign into, okay, and enslave themselves. Right now, presently as I'm speaking to you, in my country, where they have the Sandals Hotel, they have the people singing when the visitors leaving, and when the visitors coming, they have them singing. And when you look at it, it's like slavery. Bunch of big people singing. They're singing a song saying, well, we're going to miss you. Why do you have to leave and all of that? And I wrote a book before they came, called Bukomembe Resort and the Messenger. And I said, after I walk off of that resort, okay, and I told them I'm not an indentured servant, and I do not have slave mentality, even before I become so awakened. Okay, and I wrote that book, and I said what the investors were gonna come and do, and they're doing worse, because it was British who was running that, and I was told that the Americans are worse than the British, and it's been proven when Sanders come. Now they want other properties now to build another one. And all of these things was happening in the pandemic, the big scamdemic. I was seeing they were building more and more resorts in the islands, in the big scamdemic, and people couldn't see it. So only people who have spiritual insight will see what is happening in Jamaica, and the harvesting of the people's emotion, and the harvesting of their energy. And then these billionaires and multimillionaires gonna give them back money. So it is an exchange, money for your energy. Because the people worship money. They think money is real. It's an illusion. Money is not real. What is real is your valuable energy, your emotion, your mindset, your consciousness, your awareness. That is what is valuable. That's why people were saying to this man in Jamaica, bro, you haven't lost everything. And he had the guts to say, this is one of my house, one of his house, one half. That's why they're willing to sell themselves short on YouTube. They're willing to do anything on YouTube to get views. They're willing to cry. They're willing to play the victim game. Do you realize that Kentucky Chicken is not responsible for the people of Jamaica? Do you realize these delusional people were saying that the Kentucky Fried Chicken is supposed to give them free fried chicken? It's only business. It is time for our people to understand. When the Chinese come among you, when all the other races come among you, it's just business. It's called economics. It's just business. Doesn't mean they love you or they want to embrace you or they want to help you in any way. It's just business. Understand that. No one cares. No one give a damn about you. When we had Hurricane Beryl, Fuji break my vehicle windscreen. I didn't budge because I am more than a vehicle. You know, I wait, I take my time, I wait, and so on, and then I go buy my insurance. You understand? And if my insurance didn't move quick enough, I'll fix it myself. Because I understand that the real economy is within me. The real money is within me. Money is a flowing, living currency. And it's in your mentality. Do you realize that money was first a thought? It was first an idea. It was first imagined. Do you realize that all of these reporters that went into Jamaica, none of them went into the rich areas. None of them went into the gated areas where the rich people live to broadcast. They went among the poorest, delusional people who are lazy in their mind. They're lazy to think. Because doing hard work doesn't mean that you're willing. No. The people who work the hardest have the least to show for it. Rich people don't work. Money work for them. You have to allow money to work for you. And how are you going to do that? By your mentality. You have to rearrange your mind. There's only one mind. There's only one consciousness. You're carrying an energetic field when you walk around. You have that energetic field. It is magnetic, it is electrical. And these beings are feeding off your energetic field when they use charmer, when they use fair, when they use all of these things. Why do you think what is happening in Sudan is happening? It's a feast. What is happening in Tanzania? It's a feast. Because Magufuli, there was a president in Tanzania named Magufuli, because he said the scamdemic, the big pandemic, it wasn't real. The whole COVID thing, it wasn't real. They kill him. And they take a puppet, a female puppet, to do their work. The same thing in Haiti. They assassinate the president of Haiti because he said COVID wasn't real either. And he allowed his people to have their carnival. So how is it that the Jamaicans who don't want to think and who love freeness and think there's anything for free, when nothing is for free? You inhale and the exhalation is not for free. Because you have to get it from the plant, you have to get the oxygen, and then you give back to the plant. The carbon dioxide is an exchange. Okay, it's all alchemy. Let me run that again. It's all alchemy. It's all the inner science and working of alchemy. It is energy transmutation. Okay? So they're going to do all of these things around the world, and you believe because they're saying, oh, they're sending help, they're sending millions of dollars, they're doing all of that. Is help? No. Finances is not the real help you need. It's spiritual and psychological help that the people need in these parts because they've been colonized. So the ills of colonialism will always affect the people because they have the wrong concept of God. They put God on the outside and never on the inside. You see where I'm coming from? So your spirituality would affect your economics or your economy. So it's all about your ecology, your inner ecology. So it's a spiritual war that is taking place. So everybody see, oh, hurricane. No, it's spiritual warfare. You see, everybody gonna see all of the ships that Trump sent into Trinidad and in the Caribbean Sea. And they will see war because they're only seeing things on the physical realm only. But with the hurricane and so on, they can't see spiritual warfare. They can't see the harvesting of people's emotion and the energy. So Fox Weather News and all of these other people who leave America and come down, they went to the poorest class of people to interview them, to harvest their energy. It's to harvest their energy. It's a game. You have to understand the game and learn to play the game, or you get played by the game. So people rejoice and, oh, we're going to rebuild St. Elizabeth. We're going to rebuild this. We're going to rebuild that. No, rebuild your mind. Take back your spirituality. It's in your DNA. So it's a mind game. So people crying over a vehicle, people crying over their house roof blow off, they're crying over all of these things. These things came from the mind. They're all an expression of a thought. The house that you live in is an expression of a thought. The money you use is an expression of a thought. Your airport is the expression of a thought. Why do you think that the president and prime minister of this country, they're so calm and collective after the storm? They know better than you. because they evolve to a higher level than you. If very few people who evolve to a higher level will teach you these things. That's why many men were killed for trying to teach the masses these things. That's why I'm saying I'm not speaking to everybody. I'm speaking to evolved people, people who have evolved to another level. I'm not speaking to people who still at the monkey level, with the chattering mind, playing a victim game, crying over material things that you can easily get back. Temporal things. You eternal and you crying over temporal things. Man, come on. And oh, I don't know where to start. I lost everything. People say, bro, you haven't lost everything. You have life. You're supposed to have peace. You're supposed to have confidence. When you could have peace in the midst of a storm, you shut all of the gateways and all of the doors for these parasites, these astral parasites, these sites that lurk in the dark, these parasites that lurk in the dark, these subtle energy bodies that feast upon your energy at night. Let me say this, and let me simplify it. Come on, man. People have to learn to think. Just like, as I said before, you go in the earth, this physical earth, and you just so much of minerals out of this physical earth. The things that they put in the cell phone and all of these things, you have to get them from certain places. America don't even have much of that. They have to buy from certain places. And some of these places, they get these things from Africa, and the people in Africa are suffering. Because why? They're not conscious of who they are. They give them religion. They give them a false God to believe in. They disempower them. They make them worship money when money ain't real. There's no scarcity of money when you're printing money. How could there be scarcity of money when you print money? You could print any amount. But if you do that, they wouldn't have the rich and the poor. So it's all about divide and conquer. So yeah, as I was saying, they harvesting all of these things from the earth. So you don't know that your body is one with the earth? So you telling me nothing, they harvesting nothing from you? Even the mosquitoes, when the mosquito bite you and suck your blood, he harvesting something from you. Well, I'm telling you, if that happening in the physical and everything in the physical is to show you the spiritual, I'm telling you. And you're going to refer to a mosquito as a parasite, sucking your blood. But they never teach you about astral parasites who sucking your energy. Your blood and your energy is no different. That's why when they deceive in church, they tell you drink wine and eat bread, and they call it communion. Oh my God. You see, the people in Jamaica who still talking about God is who saved them from the storm, when God couldn't stop the storm, and who have the wrong concept of themselves and who do not know who they are. Okay? These people would always be the borrowers and not the lenders. They will always be at the bottom of the pyramid and not at the top of the pyramid. Because why? They are unwilling to relearn and reprogram the subconscious mind. They are unwilling to unlearn too. They believe they know everything. They believe that they have the absolute with the religion they were given. And if you check out all of these religion that they were given, you'll see who it was started by. The same people who come in and interviewing them. So my brother, my sisters, hurricanes, earthquakes, all of these things, you have to see it from a spiritual perspective. Why is it America have 50 states? Why they not getting hurricane? Europe, why they not get hurricane? Sometimes Haiti getting earthquakes and hurricanes in 1 year. Sometimes they get 2 in 1 year. Earthquake, the same thing. Jamaica, the same thing. Do you realize that there's a certain set of people that used to live in the islands of Jamaica and in the island of Haiti and these islands where I'm living here. And they try to fool us and check us and give us a false history. And they give you the history of the oppressors and the conquerors, and you believe it. For example, in Jamaica, in the Blue Mountain, and they get affected too. Cockpit country, okay? They get affected too. Because why? There's a lot of falsity going on there. Where could you ever find that there was a church to a Jesus who doesn't look like you in a maroon country? What's madness? What? People in Jamaica think that maroons only have to do with the Cockpit Mountain. Who brainwash you? Who deceive you to make you believe that only the maroons? You know who the maroons were? It's like a mystical order, bro. It's not people who live in a Cockpit country and the man who go to university and come back and call himself a chief and all of these things, and you're appointed by and begging Pope and all kind of thing. Bro, I'm building church, I call about maroon church. Believing in a white Jesus. What about you, man? Wake up now. That's why I tell you this lecture today is not for the faint-hearted. It's not for the cowards and the brainwash. So right now, the people in certain places are rejoicing with the crying and the moaning and the begging of Jamaicans. Because why? They are feeding their entities with your energy. And all you're thinking about is money. Money, 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 money. I be honest and real. People in my country is not beggy like people in Jamaica. I being real. Because when Beryl destroyed the people homes in my country, nobody was on crying and begging and crying and begging. We wasn't doing that. But they know Jamaicans going to do that, and they're going to harvest their energy. And so these astral parasites that just come in your sleep, when you're sleeping, they're harvesting the entire Jamaican community and the Caribbean too, with the warships they bring in Trinidad and so on. You must, if you understand spiritual warfare, you will understand what is going on in the Caribbean right now. The entire Caribbean as a whole, and the consciousness of the people of the Caribbean as a whole has been attacked for a great harvest. I am telling you, the Grim Reaper, and people getting sick. Many people getting sick. When they elected this woman in Trinidad, they already had a plan to overthrow the regime in Venezuela, to strengthen the American empire, because it is falling, because Russia and China is getting ahead of them in the AI war. It's an AI race for artificial intelligence, because more artificial intelligence is more control over astral intelligence, your eternal intelligence. You see, there's a part of you that cannot be born and cannot die. They don't want you to know that. There's a part of you that never born and never die. There's a part of you that doesn't know time. Time is not real. It's an illusion. You could only say yesterday in the now. You could only say tomorrow in the now. So once they catch you, okay, with a mindset of believing that money is real, and make you believe that you're supposed to be in survival mode, they will harvest your emotion. Because that's what they've been doing for centuries. They've been harvesting on your emotion. So, as I said, just as your mind goal, and they harvest gold from the earth, they harvesting from this earth. This temple, your body, they harvesting your energy and your emotion. So they use wars to do that. They use things like the big scamdemic, the big pandemic. Okay? You see why YouTube would want to shadow ban a man like me? because I'm not going to bend over for them. And then you have these black tourists that normally come from America and misbehave themselves, making a fool about themselves. When they couldn't get to leave Jamaica before the storm, the only people that was misbehaving was the black tourists at the hotels, as if they were entitled, and tried to show themselves and make themselves look stupid, making a fool of themselves. Black women making a fool of themselves. And there's always black American women doing these things, and you need to speak to them. Put them in their rightful place. You're not better than the women in the Caribbean or in Africa and other places. Okay? You've been manipulated and brainwashed by money. They were the ones showing their tail and talking about send helicopter, send private jet, call Kaisen at. Kaisen them sell all them sell out. They give their soul away for money. But this man would never do that. That's why I don't care if they shadow ban me. I don't care if they remove my channel. I don't care. Because I know who I am. I know I have something more valuable than money than anything else. And they try to play with my emotion and think they could harvest my emotion. You can't harvest my emotion. I protect my economy. That's my feelings and my emotion. That's why I would have written a book called Your Mood is Your Fortune. Your mood is your fortune. Don't allow fortune to give you a mood. No, allow your mood to give you the fortune that belongs to you, because yours. Everything you ever need is already downloaded in you. You realize a flash drive, a computer is a replica of your mind? It have a CPU, a central processing unit. Do you know that there's a central place in you that can get everything and anything? Come on, bro. But you going on your knee and say you praying to some God in the sky. Which God in the sky just send hurricane, go blood on your house, kill all your animals, and so on. And then you have people like Bill Gates and them coming and say they're giving you assistance. They're blinding you with assistance. Because that's not the assistance you need. The assistance you need is mental and spiritual. And I'm giving it to you. You don't need no money to do that. You don't need a billionaire to do that. You don't need a trillionaire to do that. You don't need a zillionaire to do that. Money is temporal power. It's temporal. When you find your eternal power, and look, people so brainwashed. It was what? Just I think it was yesterday. I drove into town and some religious idiots singing a song, and this is the song they're singing. When eternity ends, they're gonna start all over again and give Jesus praise. Eternity does end. You see when a delusion and a brainwash and you don't think. You see when they don't use a common sense, which is a God sense, your eternal sense. They're singing a song, you know, and they're singing, and they say, I will praise you. And the Lord they're referring to is what the oppressors give them, right? And they're saying, and even until eternity end. They say until eternity end. Eternity could end. Think about it. And they say, and start all over again. They go still praise. You see how people brainwash? You see why they have to be crying and begging so much in Jamaica? Yet every corner is a church. Trinidad the same thing. My country the same thing. Every corner is a church. Yet more poor people. These people claiming that they know God. They have God. They have truth. Yet they're the poorest set of people in the world. Why? They're suffering from a mental disease. Poverty is a mental disease. And it passed down from generation to generation to generation. It's a generational curse. You are the one who have to break the curse. No preacher could break the curse. Because they are liars. All political parties and all religious bodies, they are cults. They want to culture you to think and act and believe a certain way. so you won't think for yourself. They want to control your mental, so you don't think for yourself. And when you think for yourself, they think you're the enemy. Especially if you don't join their fraternities. They will want to brand you as crazy. That's why I call myself crazy before they call me crazy. You have to call yourself mad before they call you mad. Because that's what they do to all the mystics. They never educate the masses about mystics. They will educate you about presidents and prime ministers and kings and queens. And have your children waving flags and waving all of these things. Especially like in my country when they come down from Buckingham Palace and they come here to do their rituals. Just come and do a ritual every time they come. Right in the same area where I'm at. So my brother and my sisters, I'm doing all of this to say, don't make a storm shift your consciousness and rob you of your vital energy, your emotion. Don't give your emotion to those things. You want more than that. Man crying, coming on YouTube crying, want people to have sympathy. People in America and Canada to have sympathy. It is time for Jamaicans get rid of that kind of mentality, believing that when you leave your country, you're going to another country of opportunity. No, the land of opportunity is between your two ears. That's where the land of opportunity is. So many young men leave my country, so they're going to join British Army and so on, looking for opportunity. No. I remember I was working by the post office, a certain worker keep telling me, oh, Hanson, why you don't go join the army? I just put him in his place. There's certain establishment, since I was a boy, I know I don't want to join. I want to join no police force either. I have nothing against them. They claiming they're doing their work, do your work. But I'm telling you, anyone with common sense, you know everything boils back down to our economy. Everything boils back down to the rich and the poor. Don't make nobody fool you, bro. So if the information I'm giving you ain't helping you to get rich, too bad for you. Because if you're just taking it and getting a big head and just getting knowledge alone, well, too bad for you. But I'm telling you, when you start to put your mind to work, when you start to learn to calm down this monkey mind, you start to find quiet place, you stop chasing money. You start to chase after wisdom. Man, money gonna chase after you, money gonna come. How money gonna come? Ideas. YouTube, you doing YouTube videos and all of these things. Most of the people who normally do YouTube videos and making a lot of money, it's like winning the lottery. Most people who win the lottery, they always end up back broke and empty. What they doing with the money? Challenge anybody who could go and check and see, go see how much I just get. And check out my energy. Ooh. Check out my charisma, check out everything. See if they could break me. They can't break me. If you're gonna shadow ban me and you're gonna delete me completely, well, there's something about me. Why not gonna delete me completely, but you're gonna shadow ban me? You can't chance, man. Can't chance. Every one of us have to leave this planet, and none of us leave here alive. Only the delusional religious ones believe that they're gonna leave here alive, that they're gonna flip out of their body. That ain't gonna happen. Why am I saying so? I already done come out so many times and go back in so many times in the avatar you're talking about. Claim your power. It's yours. You're born with it. You're born in this world with your will. You're born with your memory. You have to remember. It's all about remembrance. They don't want you to remember. Yeah, this life is a dream. They don't want you to wake up out the dream. When you wake up out the dream, they call you crazy, man. I love that name, crazy. I love when people call me crazy. I love when they call me stupid too, you know. Because I know how wise. The foolish, we call wisdom foolish. Because that's the insight, that's the insight they have. That's how they see things, that's the world they live in. That's their consciousness. Do you realize, right? For you to be religious and superstitious, you have to learn to project your thoughts to others instead of claiming your thoughts and taking responsibility and accountability for yourself. They have you referring to yourself as being saved and other people being lost. What do you think you're doing there? You're projecting what? Your mind, your consciousness, you're projecting everything onto others and not yourself. When there's no one to change but self. And there's no one to blame but self. And when you do that, you become what? Mentally retarded. You're mentally retarded. You've been bewitched. Your mind field been controlled. Your energy field has been controlled and manipulated. So my brother and my sisters, this lecture is not for the narrow-minded. This lecture is not for people who still trapped in mental slavery. This lecture is not for people like that. This lecture, as I said from the start, is for people who have evolved. People who have transcended the monkey mind. People who have transcended the program that they were programmed right up to the age of 7 or 8, where they program you from a very young age. So they be able to harvest your emotion, harvest your energy, and decide your economy because you do not understand your inner ecology and your mental and spiritual energy, which is your true currency. You see the game? I'm giving you so much a game to play the game. Play the game right, brothers. And nobody would enslave you on this planet. You'll be free. You know how good you feel when you're a free man. You know how good you'll be when you look at the oligarchs and know that they harvesting the people energy and the emotion to some entity, and the entity is repaying them with physical and temporal money. That's why they would pay millions of dollars for devastating your country to using hurricane and empowering it to a category 5. And you say because you love charity. How you think they just keep Africa brainwashed? Charity. Charity is to blind you from your own power, your own sovereignty. They blind you with charity. You love freeness? What's your love freeness? You control. Okay, so, it's a pleasure doing this lecture. I can go on and on, but I'm going to come, to the end of the lecture now, and I'm going to have a little talk with the people who are in the comments here, okay? I believe after a while, and I'm saying this, out of love, because you see, genuine love is corrective. And I'm saying this, if any Jamaican is in the chat, listen to me. There's going to come a time when people who live in overseas would realize the game that Jamaicans been playing, the beggy game, the poor, sorry for me game, and so on, and they stop sending. They can start to get less barrels, they start to get less donations, because they see the greediness. And you know who's gonna do it? The YouTubers, the greedy Jamaican YouTubers. Yeah, I'm calling all of you out. Greedy. When you can take your own money and help your family members, you want people to send more money and all of that. You realize YouTube know who they send viral and so on to, Cause they know. Let me tell you something. If you was to take all the people in a certain country and you give them, say, $1 million or even 2 million, the rich still going to end up rich and the poor still going to end up poor. They lose all it still. You think they didn't know that? As I always see, people always talk about prayer. When they talk about prayer, pray for what? Before hurricane, they say pray. During hurricane, they say pray. After hurricane, they still say pray. Bullshit. It don't work until you know who you are. Till you find peace inside of you, no storm gonna hurt you. Someone say UK love Jamaicans. Love yourself first. Jamaicans don't beg. Just cook your food and play your music. Everything will be all right. Okay. How much of them know that? Much of them don't know that because they were raised to be religious and superstitious. And that will always make you become the borrower and not the lender. Okay? They think all these years that Kentucky Fried Chicken doing business with them, that Kentucky Fried Chicken gonna pay the sorry for me game and give them free Kentucky. And if you have any common sense, you look around, you see Kentucky Fried Chicken. The only thing white about Kentucky Fried Chicken is the photograph of the man on the box. Everything else about Kentucky Fried Chicken is black. All the people working all in the kitchen, doing all of this, doing all of that, they tell you about they have special recipe and spice and herbs. They lie. It's a lie. Who could fry a chicken better than black people? That was stolen. Just like how you never know the filament in the bulb was a black man. They never tell you that, you know. They never teach you that in school. Because they set up the syllabus in school. When you think when Chinese and all these people come among you, it's just business. It's just business, bro. All they don't get chick. Somebody say, hey, you in Jamaica, did you get hit? I'm not in Jamaica by that big hurricane. And are you okay if you did? No, I'm not living in Jamaica. Where I'm living here, it's like 5 hours flight to Jamaica. Okay, I live in another Caribbean island. Okay. So it's like five hours by plane to go to Jamaica because I went there before. That's why I can tell you that. I took the route from St. Lucia. Travel from St. Vincent and the Grenadines to St. Lucia, then to Jamaica. Okay. So when I talk about Jamaica, I talk about people Jamaica because I've been there before. Okay, and then you have the internet to show you the beggy mentality. Okay, the poor me one mentality. They have to get rid of that. Redemptionless politicians. And you must know any country that the people trying to depend on politicians and always get caught up too much in politics and religion, they does remain poor. And that's why, as I tell you, all of these reporters, they're not going in the gated communities in Jamaica. They go where all the entertainers and all of these people live. And that's why I don't listen to Jamaican dancehall entertainers. Most of them is sell out because you have to know who owns the record label and the brand. And I could go deep into that. Okay, that's why my spirit. When I hear these, especially, I'm talking about the young ones. I'm not talking about Bonnie Whaler and Bonnie Spears and them kind of people. I'm not talking about those kind of people, bro. Get me right. If you know anything about Jamaica, okay, I'm not talking about Peter Tosh and those kind of people. I'm not talking about those kind of people. I'm talking about this young generation. You understand? Who just like the young generation in America, who man, you see man all 35, 40, 45 years walk on rapper. You want a hard cloth there in the head, but you want to be a rapper. You want to be a rapper. And then in my country now, the latest thing now, the children saying they want to join the army, British army. Slavery thing. When they don't enslave our people down here, sugar cane and build their empire. No, just now they're going to fight. They're going to fight a useless war. Someone say, hey, rude boy. What's up, brother? Hi to you. Corinne Brown. Yeah. Someone say they went to their bunker. They're building all of these bunkers so when people wake up, when the masses wake up, that's where they're going to run and hide. That's why they're building all of these bunkers. Because there's a time when the people are going to wake up and realize that these oligarchs, that they've been selling their energy by giving the astral parasites, the people, energy, their emotion. So they create certain things like strengthening the storm to category 5 and so on to cause more destruction. Because they feed these entities that I'm speaking about, these non-physical entities I'm speaking about, they feast and fare. That's how they get their feast. That's why they build so much churches. And you know who started these churches? All of the offices is in Cleveland, Tennessee. That's where you find the offices. Okay? And while the people give the tithes and the offering, 1/10 of the tithes and the offering, they go into the founder of the churches where the people live in most of them. They have the offices or the headquarters in Cleveland, Tennessee. So when I speak in facts. But they are feeding your emotion, your energy to these entities. Okay, and these entities, okay, give them certain knowledge and understanding because they're so ancient. Okay, to just get temporal money and so on here. Okay. Yeah. So if you do not fix your mind to close those doors and portals, when you become fearful and you waste your emotion and so on and your energy, you open up portals for these parasites. Okay? These astral parasites. They lurk in the dark at night when you're asleep. That's when they feast on your energy. In the day, mosquitoes will bite you and feast from you. But these entities that I'm speaking about is in the night when you are asleep. They harvest your energy. It's like gold. You know what gold is like to some people when they go into Africa and they harvest the gold and the diamond? That is what it is to them, okay, in the astral realm. When you think about Colossus being built by Elon Musk, what do you think that is? It's to bring certain entities to certain vibration and frequency. When they build Sun, CERN, go check out Sun. We think they're doing. You see, most people believe that we are the only ones living here because they don't get contact. They never teach anything about extraterrestrial because they don't want you to get contact. Start to seek your ancestors for contact. How are you gonna do that? You reprogram your subconscious mind. You have to be willing to unlearn and relearn. You have to get rid of all of the colonial teachings that you got and free your mind. And you have to start to realize that there have all been mystics among you. The mystics never die because we never live. The mystics, they can never die. The church murder, they do all of these things to the mystics, and the mystics are still here. We could never die. Okay, let me go on here. So they could all then go to their bunkers. Who let you out of prison? I've never been in prison, can never be in prison. It is impossible for me to ever be in prison. You see, this kind of incarceration where they build a building and they put people around bars, it's not real. You could imagine yourself out of there if you know your astral self. So when people talking these foolishness, you understand, I like people like that. I like to entertain people who would show their true self or their consciousness because that's all this person thinks, okay? So whenever they see a melanated man, they believe that he went to prison. Because in America, sometimes the police put drugs and melanated men just to put them in prison. To put a mark on them. And then when they're done, they want to turn around and tell us a story about Ostrich and what Hitler did. When we are the ones who they're after to persecute because we are the real ones. That's why we don't have to go building bombs and guns and try to bully people to take their minerals. Okay? Like what Trump is doing right now in the Caribbean Sea to take Venezuela valuable oil because they're sitting on so much reserve of oil and mineral. Trump wanted to strengthen the kingdom. But you're going to fall. Just like Rome fall. I say you are on Cobbs live last night. Not me. You are telling the truth. Thank you, big brother. Yeah, I have to tell the truth. I am a truth teller. And only people who have truth in them will recognize the truth. Someone says, yeah, yes, you are right. Someone says, yeah, economics, yeah. The E in economics is the energy, man. Your real economy, as I said earlier, is your inner ecology. And you have to learn to use a science of alchemy, is where you transmute energy into the equivalent of your reality. Okay? But you have to understand how the minds work. Someone says, yeah, go vegan. That is you going to one extreme. All you need is balance. Okay, you need so much a live plant in your blood, because the chlorophyll in the plant is the closest thing to your blood. You need so much of that. But don't go to the extreme. Don't make the brainwash you with going vegan or going this or going that. Stay right in the middle. Someone here says, I'm just spreading the gospel, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and you will be saved. Any man who believes on Jesus Christ is an idiot. Any man who believes that some man died for their sin is an idiot. Only idiots will call on Jesus. Especially doesn't look like you. You have to be a monkey to call on Jesus. You have to be in your monkey mind to believe that a man existed 2,000 years ago with special powers. He could turn water into wine, but you can't turn water into wine. Look at the trees. Every seed, every species all reproduce after its own kind. How you can reproduce that same life? Because it's all metaphysical. It's all psychological. There's no such a man. But you are the man who could turn water into wine. That you could never be broke another day in your life. All these people who like to quote Bible scriptures without the psychological understanding, without the esoteric understanding, without the metaphysical understanding, and without no experience of the awakening, they're empty talkers. And most of the time they're borrowers and not lenders. They are beneath and not above. You worshiping the oppressor's God. The oppressor give you his God to worship. And you worshiping the oppressor who oppress you, because you do not know yourself. Where in Africa you could go and find a man being a savior with blonde hair and blue eye? It never happened. Somebody say, right, it's like a form of slavery. Slavery never ends. It just become more systematic. Okay? It never ends. It just become more systematic. Okay? They take it from physical to the mental and spiritual. That's why you have so much churches. Someone says Sandals is a bad place. I know Sandals is a bad place. Everywhere they go, they block the people from their own beaches. Because why? The people value paper more than their energy, more than their currency. And their politicians keep them blind. Someone here says, look, musty. What is your interpretation of that? It's all basically an interpretation of your mindset. That's why I say people all the time try to project their thought on you, because they were raised to be religious and superstitious. They were raised by parents who train them to be idiots. So they never learn to think for themselves. An idiot is a person who never learned to think for themselves. So they conform to the system, and they never be transformed by the rearranging of their mind, the reunion of their mind. They still have the belief that was passed down to them from the parents, and they carry around these generational curses that keep them in poverty. That's why I tell you poverty is a disease of the mind. It have nothing to do with your outer self. Someone said no one knows what happened. I know exactly what happened. Someone said no more food stamp. Get a job. When it comes to food stamp, do you know that there are more white people on food stamp than black people, but they make you think that there's more black people on food stamp in America? You know that? You know a lot of these people, they just live on certain privilege. And to prove that, in my book, Bukume Result and the Messenger, when they bring the guy named Rob, the white guy as a trainer who didn't know shit, when it comes to giving the people certain exercise like doing yoga and so on, and he come in and telling me, you the man. I said, no, because I don't read it long time. I don't read his energy. I don't tell the other workers. I say, this guy, they know nothing, you know. And all the other melanated people like myself watching me like if I'm crazy. That time I was himself so awake and so aware, okay? I say, this guy ain't know anything. This guy in no true trainer. I could watch him and I could tell. I could sense his energy. They watching me like, when he hear the shout now, he come now, and after I post this saying, nah, you the man. You because they don't tell them, okay, this couple coming down from England, they custom to do yoga and so on, and they want to meet a yoga instructor when they come down at the resort and so on. He come in and trying to think he's smarter than me, because they think they're smarter than us, okay? They believe we are subhuman and they're higher, okay? Many of them in brainwash to think that way. Him, you the man. I said, no, you the man. No, and he keep going on. I said, no, you the man. Then I tried to explain some things he could do. Then he tell me, I don't know how to do it. Then you know what they did? They planned for him to go back to England for 6 weeks to do a crash course to come back, and then want to elevate him above me. And I checked them. I said, just as he leave to go, I walk and have this result, and that's what I did. It's me, indentured servant. They said, they don't say, oh, he going up for 2 weeks, and when he come back, I don't really remember and don't realize. I tried to say when he come back, he got supervise with me, he ain't no shit. All of that was training for what I'm doing here and what I'm saying. That's why I'm telling you, don't make money blind you with billionaires and all things, helping Jamaica and so on. No, it's spiritual help Jamaicans need. Psychological help and spiritual help. That's what they need. And those who could help themselves in that area, they're not saying nothing. They must separate themselves. They gotta live in gated communities and this and that. And because they pledge allegiance, some of them don't pledge allegiance and don't sell themselves. For example, I saw a couple in Jamaica from a rich area. All they do, they show you all of the solar panel that blow off. Some of the solar panel that blow off. And they put them aside and they go in the big time vehicle and they drive through and the woman place, she cry, oh, look how we come. We come. And the man say, shut up, bitch. That's what I said. I tell you the truth. You understand? She didn't even cry for long. Okay, giving some of she emotion, she energy to some of the entity. You understand? Living lavishly. You understand? There's no. Let me tell you something. There's hardly anyone in any country who could live real lavishly who do not know something that the others don't know. I'm saying I am here to share. I don't want all for myself. It's too temporal. There's more than enough in this world to share for everybody. That's why what I'm doing, I'm using my ability and share it. If you don't want to take it and use it to bring money, it's up to you. Because money is a servant. You gotta be a servant of money and no more about food stamp. So every time they show Africa, they go to the poorest part of Africa to show the world. Then I go to the rich part of Africa to show all the rich Africans, you know. YouTubers do that too. All them white YouTubers when they go Africa, they never show you the rich part of Africa. And people think, oh, they're so loving. Can they give them a little bit of money too, eh? This chum person, I'm not even gonna give him too much energy. But you have to understand the chores are very much needed, because even more comment when I have chores, okay? Seems like you put it out a lot of energy on YouTube yourself. Hypocrite, right? Okay, this person wanna call me hypocrite, right? Saying I put in out energy, right? Do you know if I could get one soul, okay, I wanna say a soul. You notice I'm not saying just a person, right? A soul. If I could only get one soul to find themselves and to come to self-realization, you know how much that means to me? You know how much I win? Huh? What kind of energy? This person here, let me see, this person faster here, okay? Who talking foolishness, right? What you need to do, go and check out and see how much I make for YouTube before you talk. When I started to do YouTube, I didn't even know you could make money from YouTube, much less. That's why I don't care. You talking, boy. You're coward. You'll never try to debate me or try to say anything about what I am teaching. You understand? On a Zoom call or anything like that. You're hiding behind a computer. You're hiding behind a cell phone. You see I hiding? someone trying to adjust the chum person. Don't even give this chum person too much energy. You understand? Don't give too much entertainment. You're looking for entertainment. Okay? I think you get enough. But one thing I know, right? The chum person, you know, this man speaking truth, eh? That's why he can't leave the chat. That's why you have to do so much work. Because these things I'm speaking, they're very effective. So just welcome the chum. Okay, just welcome him. Someone say it's the one you don't see that you should worry about. Yeah. That's what people missing. You understand? You don't see the devastation of the hurricane. It's what you ain't see or what you're not seeing that we're supposed to be worrying about. Like the harvesters that harvesting the people emotion and the energy. All the people who are allowing themselves to be confused and thinking that they don't have anything because their horse blew down and because their horse roof blew down and they get trapped in the temporal wall and they believe that they are human, trying to be spiritual. They go into church, they're doing all of these things. They pray to a God that can't save them. They pray to a God that can't help them. They pray to a God that is keeping them poor. They pray to a God that is making them a borrower. The bank control them. Most people in these islands that are religious and superstitious, the bank is the reason why they have a vehicle. The bank is the reason why they have a house. I can speak because I own no bank. I have no mortgage and no loan at no bank because the borrowers are slave to the lender. And all of the banks in this country, they move them out, like Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is Canada. Barclays Bank, that's Canada. They move them out because they're going to change the money system. When people was busy with the big pandemic, the scamdemic, the big pandemic, they were working so hard and doing what they were doing, building more resorts, doing all of these things. To continue to the enslavement of the people and keep them in their ignorance. That's why I don't care about YouTube. I speak anything I feel to speak. You understand? Because I don't depend on YouTube to pay me. I don't depend on YouTube money. You understand? Because I know money is just energy. I use my creativity to prosper anywhere I go. That's why I do not have to leave and say I'm going to America, going to England, going to Canada, because I know the land of opportunity is between my two ears. That's where the land of opportunity is. So when you know who you are, you're powerful. When you understand the power of your mind, you're powerful. No one can control you. You don't chase after money. Money will chase after you because you chase after wisdom. Wisdom is greater than knowledge because when you apply the knowledge, then it is wisdom. So I don't depend on YouTube. That's why I speak as I please. I'm not afraid to call out the fake Jews and so on. I'm not afraid of that. Why? Because I don't depend on their paycheck. Okay? They're not gonna feast off of my emotion. Like they're feasting on the people of Jamaica emotion right now. Someone say, yes, you are a mad guru. Of course. My mad is mystically adept divinity. Okay? I am a divine, infinite being. I never born and I'll never die. Let me run that again. I never born and I'll never die. I know who I am. No, it's just my cousin. Her name is Melissa. We haven't seen each other in a while. Why you think Fax Weather already was in Jamaica? Why you think some people already traveled down to Jamaica before the storm? Because they know it was inevitable. They already set it up to happen, to feast off the people emotion. Okay? To these non-physical entities. A lot of people do not know anything about the non-physical entities that feed on your energy at night. I've had many battles with them. I've won all my battles because I know who I am. Okay? That's why I tell you, I never live and I'll never die. And that's, give us a little hearing, please. I was here before, you meet me here before. You understand? You know this woman have the people in the life, you know this woman, right, have the guts because this is what they call tourist season. Okay, I've been here all season. Okay, doing my videos, and she want to tell me how I should speak. You see the slave mind for $1, because she don't know what is money. She don't know money is energy. She have no contact with her non-physical self. She was brainwashed in school, just like what they did to all of us through colonialism, colonial mind. That's how the colonial mind works. She want to live her voice and want to tell me keep my voice down, but I have a studio at home. Okay, so they try to tell me, oh, you can't come here and this and that, and you must keep your voice this way. I have a studio at home, so I could do videos in my studio. Okay, do you realize that most of the people down here who now have been this passage, they don't like me, you know? No, they don't. I could tell you a lot of stories. Okay, so you see, your own people, they can't stand the truth. Okay, and then she trying to tell me I must keep my voice on. Everything she says what they tell her to say. There's a breadfruit tree up there. If you go anywhere in my country, you see breadfruit trees all in the wild, and they tell them that Captain Bligh brought the breadfruit here, and they believe that. She messing with the wrong man. I fear nothing. I don't even fear death. Because it's not real. They want you to fear. When you don't fear death, you can't be controlled. Okay? Someone says here how to break curses. Okay, you can reach out to me one-on-one. I'll teach you how to break curses. Okay? How to break curses of dismantle altars placed on our families. Okay? I can definitely teach you. You can reach out to me. We can definitely have a one-on-one. Okay? If you don't want to invest in yourself and you put so much of value on money, then you wouldn't reach out. You see, people put so much of value on money, they put money over themselves. Okay? When I speak to you, this is money, this is energy. Okay? So it's always an exchange. So you want to reach out to me for a one-on-one, we can have a one-on-one. Okay? I'll teach you how to break these curses. Okay? If you're willing to unlearn and relearn and then reprogram your subconscious mind. Okay? Someone said the meteor in the sky is just a thought too. Okay, whatever you see in the sky that you see on the outside is just a projection of what is within. Everything exists in your consciousness. So this person trying to be smart with me. You can check a man whose IQ has gone to another level. Whenever you awake out of this dream, your IQ will go to another level. You can't check me, bro. Everything exists in consciousness. Whatever you see in the sky, when you fall asleep tonight, where does it go to? If you're so wise, the meteor that you're talking about in the sky, when you fall asleep tonight, where does it go? And why do you dream? Who is the dreamer inside of you? Who is the dreamer inside of you, wise guy? Don't try to be smart with me, okay? An awakened, enlightened, melanated man, enlightened, awakened, melanated man can't be fooled. Because he doesn't dwell in the monkey mind. Okay? So don't try to be smart with me. But, oh, the meteorite too, that is not real. When you fall asleep in the night, where does it go to? And why do you dream? Who's the dreamer in you? Wake up, guy. Wake up. Someone says here, Jamaica will always be a developing country. Yeah, developing, never develop. Because the people have to develop psychologically and spiritually first. And stop chasing after money and begging. And get rid of the beggy mentality. So they say Jamaica will always be a developing country due to natural earth crisis, such as hurricanes are not natural. Unfortunately, they're not natural. Because you people don't know anything about sun and these things, okay? Because you people do not know anything about the non-physical entities that feeds on your energy and your emotion. You don't know anything about that. Everything comes from the element of earth, wind, water, and fire. What do you think a hurricane is? Hurricane is something that is spiritual, not as physical as you think. America have 50 states. Why these hurricanes are not going to America? But just the other day, Trinidad have tornado. There was a tornado in Trinidad. So if tornado could be in the Caribbean, then hurricane could be in America, in the 50 states too. The only place they ever attacked with hurricane was New Orleans. And George Bush leave all the people to die and drown. Because most black people can't swim. And you all need to learn to swim. Go swim in school. Send your children swim in school while they're young. Send them to swim in school while they're young. So I hear doing my video, she come with a bunch of tourists, okay? Bunch of white people saying this is tourist season, right? And to want to tell me how loud I should speak when she meet me here. You see how colonialism does work? You see how the mind does work? You see how slavery, you see the slave? See the slave mind? All year I'll be here. I pay them for 3 months and then 3 months and 3 months and 3 months as I pay and I come in here. And there's a reason why I just been here. I have a certain affinity, spiritual affinity to here. I know why. They wouldn't tell you. As a matter of fact, for those who are listening, right where I'm here, not too far from here, up there is, and the people who spiritual evolve would read between the lines. The Governor General house is up there. The Governor General is even higher than the Prime Minister. All in go all the way back to Buckingham. And when they come, they always come here to plant a tree. They always come to do a ritual. So she just prattling and think she's a guide. Think she guiding the people, telling people a bunch of things where they tell them. She telling the same people who tell them these things which she believe and telling them back to these people. Fool. And this person talking about natural old crisis. Don't make them fool and talk about unfortunate. There's no unfortunate. Everything working together for your good. If you're a really evolved person on this planet, okay? Someone say, hi, are you saying that they are spirit entities feeding from our energies? That's exactly what I'm saying. And I'm saying that from experience, okay? That's exactly what I'm saying. Rashid Barrows. That's exactly what I'm saying. Look, let me tell you something, people. Okay, because I'm gonna come to a close just now. I don't speak things that I don't know, you know. I don't talk about books, you know. I never read Elimelech and Epic of Gilgamesh, and Egyptian book. I never read those things, you know. It just recently I was asking on the same channel for people to send some books to me. I don't ask for money, I ask for more books, okay? Because one of my ambitions is to have a massive library, okay? More of a metaphysical, esoteric, psychological kind of library. And more library that help to empower and build people, okay? And someone plans to send some like books with that kind of name too, and so on. You understand? Never read those things. Everything I speak is from my own experience. I know what I'm talking about. And then I will go on the internet and get confirmation from many people who live many, many years before I ever was born. Which I tell you I never born. I having this experience I actually mean to say. Before I ever come here to have this other experience, because I have many, many, many experiences. This particular lifetime here, this particular one here. I have many, okay? I've even gone back to the, I ain't gonna say which country this other one was in, okay? Someone said, shit boy, I went in on these negative karmic family members last night. Kinda raw, so looks like I'm about to take evacuation to the place they send the real ones. I have actual physical proof of spirits. Yeah, everything I said, man. And someone says real talk. Thank you very much. Someone say big blessing. Blessing to you too, Tina. Okay. Rashid, yes. Under the influence of the surrounding islands, Cuba, Haiti, that practices indigenous black magic. No. There's such a thing as no indigenous black magic. Okay. It is what your ancestors have always known. Okay. They try to use the word magic in a negative way to brainwash you with the word miracle to imprint in the subconscious mind the blonde hair, blue eye boy Jesus. Okay, that is something that been put together by the Zionists. Okay, most people in these parts don't realize it is the whole Zionist foundation and system that is basically penetrating their subconscious mind, and they set it up in the school system because it is these Zionist people who was running the slave trade. They can't fool me. I don't wake up. When I went to school, they tell you, and they ask in school, who are the first Europeans to enslave Africans? And you know, you're gonna say Portuguese, because if you input that, they're gonna give you wrong in school and then tell you you're dunce. But I come to realize it's the Zionists. That's why they always tell you they've been persecuted and they were in Ostrich, however the place name. Okay, but they never tell you the real reason why. Just like the people in my country who still have the African system being polluted with the Jesus in it, okay, and they were persecuted, and just recently they gave them a holiday. Politicians give them a holiday, right? But if I was to ask them, why were they persecuted? Anybody with any common sense would know. No one in the Caribbean was ever persecuted for believing in white Jesus. None. No one in the Caribbean was ever persecuted for believing in Christianity. Don't make nobody fool you. So when you ask them why they persecuted, they don't know. And they call themselves spiritual Baptists. So they take your powers and they tell you magic. And then they make you believe that there was a man with miracles. That is a perform a miracle named Jesus. So you ain't gonna know that you are a magician. So you ain't gonna know that you are a magical being. So they're checking you with words. English language is a twofold language. But you can't fool me. English language is a twofold language. If I was to go in my country and ask everybody, do you believe in God? And there's a trick question, you know. Everybody say yes. But when I watch their life, I know different. That's why they just say, I don't believe in God. But again, chick. It's how I believe in God, why I don't go to church. Because I know this body here, this avatar, and who I am. I always believe in myself. I will never stop believing in myself. Someone say, I agree. Someone say, don't believe you. Make the money, don't let it make you. Okay? Someone say, make the money, don't make you don't make money. Don't make nobody fool you, don't make money. You transmute energy. See, that person doesn't know what they're talking about. How harvesting our energies will benefit these energy vampires? Are you saying that they need energy to live? That is your interpretation. I never say that they need your energy to live. Okay, you are both physical, you are mental, and you're spiritual. Okay, common sense will teach you that just as, say, insects and so on feed, is a cycle. Okay, they have a life cycle. Everything have a life cycle. Okay. But there's no real death as you think there's death. It's just like you. You carry around certain feeling and you get certain emotion. But it helps you to live a certain way. It doesn't help you to live because you're going to die. It's what we call death, okay? Your time here will come to, let me say, end, okay? The cycle here, okay? But it continues. So don't misconstrue what I'm trying to share with people. That's why I say these are people who evolve. For example, the more positive you become, the more optimistic, the more knowledge of self you get, and so on. You radiate a different kind of light. You carry around your halo, a aura, they call it, which is an energy field. It's magnetic and energetic. And it will give light based on on the way you think, based on what you feed on. Okay, so just as how you feed on food for your physical, it's the same thing you have to do with your mental and spiritual. So the light will block these entities from coming in. So there wouldn't be no gateway. So, but when you become fearful, when you become angry, when you become argumentative, and you use all these different emotions, they open up they open up portals for these non-physical entities to harvest your energy. Okay, I don't know how else I can explain it to you, because there's certain things you have to have experience for your own self. Someone says, yeah, people have lost themselves into loving the money when they need to get back into loving self, so can know how to show that love to someone else. Yes. You see, they make you so busy in this world chasing after money that you forget that the kingdom of possibilities, the kingdom where all things are possible, lies within you, in your consciousness, your awareness. So you make money govern your mentality instead of your mentality being used and utilized to attract money. Money is your servant. You're not the servant of that. Okay? Someone said, thank you for sharing true words. Much appreciated. Big up yourself. Big up to you too. Someone says facts. Someone says uncle angry. Some people do not understand passion and anger. Okay, why should I angry? Okay, when I realize that anger is an emotion that these non-physical entity feeds on. You see, it is because in your consciousness you do not understand passion, so you interpret passion for anger because that's what you know. So you're trying to project your thoughts to me. I'm not angry. You can't angry with the system because you can't change the system. You have to change yourself. You feel disgusted of how people use people because of lack of knowledge. Okay? But because of love, your love will cast out all doubt and all fear. Fear is what going to make you angry and this and that. Okay? Everything is about to change and they don't even notice the slow rise of the vibe. I think they try to put here. Okay? Right now in the Caribbean, people do not understand what is going on in the entire Caribbean. Okay? People do not understand the spiritual warfare that's taking place in the Caribbean with the people energy, with their emotion. Okay? And the people at the top is who is doing it. Okay? But people can't see it. People cannot see the correlation between the Hurricane Melissa and the correlation to Trump sending all of these warships in the Caribbean Sea. People cannot see the correlation because some people are just seeing the physical. But everything on the outside is a reflection of what is taking place within. Okay? So spiritual warfare and the entire Caribbean. It have nothing to do with Venezuela. It's the entire people of the Caribbean. Because people in the Caribbean are waking up. Okay? People in the Caribbean are waking up to find themselves to be mystics, and they're getting themselves back in line with the DNA of their ancestors, and some of them find themselves to know that they're the ancestors who have come back to awake the people again. Okay, because they are asleep. They do not know that this life is a dream and they fast asleep. Okay, love you very much, uncle. Thank you. Love you too, my brother. Our sister, whoever it is. Hurricane Melissa was a warning to mankind. Hurricane Melissa was no warning to no mankind. It is something that has been manipulated. Okay? It's as simple as that. it was a great feast for the non-physical entities to feed on the people emotions and their trauma, because many of them are unaware of who they are, and they're trapped in churches. Churches are prisons. They're trapped in schools, churches, universities, all around. They've been trapped. Okay? Why is it that the wealth of Jamaica, the people, the real people who born and grew up in Jamaica, they're not the richest families in Jamaica? You must check out the richest families in Jamaica and you'll see who they are. And so the devastation, the things that happen in Jamaica doesn't affect these people. The rich will always get richer, the poor will always get poorer. That's why when you discover your rich self, you can't get poor again. You think I could ever be poor? I will never have that kind of mentality, so I can't be poor again. I don't get rid of that disease. That disease, I already healed myself. That's why I don't care about what YouTube will do. They want shadow ban, they want to do that. But Jamaican YouTubers, many of them have to do anything because they're just depending on that. And when they get the money, that they're not putting it to good use. So all YouTubers are supposed to be saying, I'm going to help 2 families. I'm going to help 3 families. Instead, they're begging. Someone say Rastafari. No, I rich Tafari. If you study, if people really study you all Ras, and where the word Ras come from, and they study the dynasty, and they go all the way to Ethiopia, and who was a Ras in Ethiopia, and where the word Tafari come from, and who was called Tafari after, and who was called Ras. Which people just call me, and I will answer. People call me anything, I answer. They call me Muslim, I answer. They call me atheist, anything. You see? Because I know what I know. You see? So, when you understand that, the people who talk about Selassie been poor? Selassie been broke? He was miserable? He had loans and mortgages with the bank? I was the emperor, bro. Hurricane Minister is a sign of a geographic change to mankind. Which geographical change to mankind? If is the psychological and spiritual one that I'm trying to get them to, well, fine. If you're speaking from the angle, fine. Love your positive energy. Thank you very much. Love your positive energy too. Okay? Only real can recognize real. Right ideas, generate into money, facts, 100%. You see, there's people who thinking. Yeah, that's what money is all about. That's people who understand the game right there. Okay? Cold light, too bright. Yeah, you know, it's goal. Okay? That's someone who understands what we're talking about. Okay? They can shadow ban you if you on the sun. Okay? So somebody say, okay, they can't. Let me tell you something. When it comes to this RAM, okay, you have to realize, okay, there's certain limitation. Okay, you have to realize because certain people are 2 steps ahead of you, or 1 step ahead of you, through generations upon generation upon generation upon generation. Do the things that they can do are temporal. Do the things that they're doing cannot really stop you. You understand? They could do things to slow down the process because we live in here in a 3-dimensional physical world, though that is not our essence. So you have to understand that. You have to understand your mortality and your immortality. You have to understand that. So someone who listens to me might get confused because they hear me say, I never live and I never die. I never born, sorry, and I never die. And then they come back and hear me say this and they get confused. You see? Someone say real talk, bro. Thank you very much. Where I am from, the more money that is made, the more one has to pay taxes. Yeah. All around the world, it is like that. Okay. Let me use this opportunity to say to anyone who's listening to me, if you have books, whether self-development books, self-help books, spirituality books, that you may have and not use it, I don't use already. If you would like to donate, I have a wish list. I'll send the wish list and you can donate books. Just books I need. Okay, not just for myself, but I want, when I leave this planet, I must have a lot of books that will help people. And before I leave, I can give people the opportunity. Okay, because they say if you want to hide something from certain people, put it in a book. So if even I give them the opportunity to read the book, there's very few people still gonna come and read. Okay, but I want to give people that opportunity. I have some already, but I want more and more. And I normally buy also of my own too and bring them. Okay. And if you need, if you would just reach out to me, I'll send. I have an American address, so if you're in America and you're sending something from one state to say Floral, because my thing is in Doral. I say Floral, Doral. My thing is in Doral. Okay, my post box. Okay, I don't think it might cause you anything. So from one state to the next. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you, you can do that. When it comes down here now, I'll pay. I have to pay. Okay. Someone, you go to uncle, let it out. Yeah, man. I'm always good. Always happy. Okay, Falcon, I want to thank you very much for the $10 donation. I really appreciate it. Okay, thank you for your wise words. Subscribe. Thank you very much for subscribing. And to be honest with you, this is most of the time I just basically get people to subscribe, because some people don't believe me when I say what they've been doing to my channel, right? And it is true, okay? But normally when I come live and people go on and so on, that's how I get, For example, if you think I'm telling you, can go back about a month or two ago, about a month or two ago, you see I had a video is about 94,000 views. In that 1 month, I got about, let me see, close to 10,000 subscribers in that 1 month, and over about say almost 250,000 views. Okay, but it was 200,000 wrong there and some. Okay, I can't remember the exact. Okay, because I used to check the what you call it, the statistics. I think, yeah, the stat, huh? Yeah, the analytics. And can't take any. Yeah, the analytics, right? I used to check that. Okay, me and my girl used to check that, right? She's who I'm speaking to. Okay, because the last time somebody said someone was behind me. No one was behind me speaking. It's my girl I'm speaking to. My girl and my child is here. Okay. Yeah, and I see. And then after I said certain things, they back. One of the video that they didn't even allow to get any ads was the one where I said I discovered the cure for poverty. That one never get any ad. Then I speak about a certain man who they call mystic and so on, and they say how he was started by an Ethiopian, and so on, a Ethiopian mystic and so on and all of that. And I played the game with them for a long time on other channel, and then I removed the name, exposed the man, okay, which is Neville Goddard, okay, and show he was a part of certain society and all of that and thing. And because the person who reached out to me, who tell me that they was not troll and so on, they disclose certain things that I know. They could be working with YouTube and so on and all of that. So what they want to do, that's their business. I don't care. I'll do what I send on this earth to do. Okay? And nothing gonna stop me. Okay? Not even that gonna stop me, because I've already done the work. Okay? Someone said 2 words. Teach them. I want to be God. You can't want to be who you are already. Okay? You just got to wake up. You have to have the desire to awake from the dream. Everything is here to drain the life force until the car can't move any longer. Of course. Well said. This is something well said here. That's why I'm telling you. It is really vain, to try to gain this world and lose your soul. Until Jamaicans really realize that they stop coming on the internet, play the crying and begging, and with this beggy mentality. I see Steve Harvey show his ass so much on Jamaicans when he was there with some clique meeting, they invite him in. So it's on the internet, so you could go and check it out on YouTube when Steve Harvey really show his ass on Jamaican people when he was there, doing some speaking engagement. They did invite him in clique. Embarrassed man, embarrassed woman, embarrassed the people at the islands. Steve Harvey from that thing, Steve Harvey is a piece of shit. I'm afraid to say that. You go and watch and see how he treat those people. When a woman from Antigua tried to tell him to invite him to Antigua, he asked if hotels in Antigua. Steve Harvey and him. I speak the truth. So when you see things happen to these kind of people, like their wives sleeping with pool boy and all kind of thing and all them things, don't worry. See how you treat those people. And if you hear these people in Jamaica, Mr. Harvey, I always remember them how they always call him Mr. Harvey. And begging. And I always say, if Steve Harvey was in some other country dealing with other people, he would not show himself so much on them. Show himself on them Jamaicans, and then those Jamaicans just keep begging Steve Harvey. You could go and look at it. It's supposed to be on YouTube when he was in Jamaica. Okay? Someone say, if you fear love, if you are fear love, you deserve it. You can't fear love. You have to love yourself. Okay? That's why they trick you and tell you must fear God. You're not supposed to be fearful of yourself. You have to love and embrace yourself. Some people say sleep paralysis demons. There's no such a thing as no sleep paralysis demons. Okay? It's non-physical entities that feed on your energy. Okay? Don't make the trick you with this different terminology. Okay, I'm gonna come to a close just now. Anytime it's 2 hours, I'm definitely gonna close. It's about 9 minutes too. Someone say DMT. Okay, DMT. I forget the big word for it. There's a bigger word for DMT, but you get that in weed, you get it in ayahuasca and so on. But that's not the kind of awakening you want to get. Okay, as a melanated person, it happened to you naturally. Okay, like it happened to me naturally. Okay, these people who are less melanin and so on, they could use all of these things, all of these psychedelics and so on. Okay, because they want to get the experience. And nothing wrong with that. I'm not gonna condemn them for that. But you don't need to do that as a melanated person. Gold and the land of milk and honey, the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. Yeah, everything have to do with your physiology, your biology, your anatomy, your psychology. Everything is about you. So you talk so much about Mother Africa. Have you ever been there? Have you ever lived there? I would say yes. Okay. I've had so many different lifetimes. I could tell you exactly where in Africa my bloodline from and so on, and with African country, my family and everything. I could do it. Even my mother could do it. And just recently, after I get my mother to stop, go to church, okay, after I interpret certain dream for her, and she had to go to the church and tell them the dream, and she catch them mocking her and laughing at her and so on. And when I interpret the dream to her and so on, it makes sense and so on, she decided to stop, go to church. Okay, after the age of 70 something, that's when my mother started to get certain downloads. And so when my mother come to me and tell me, oh, the ancestors tell me something, I say, I already know this, she's shocked. So I know I'm talking about, so talk about Africa and all these things. Okay. And if I used to go to Africa now, I know exactly where to go and which country I should go first. I know all of that. Someone says uncle is expressing. Yeah, you gotta express truth, man. Turn it into something good. Yeah, you have to take your energy. Okay, doesn't matter what happening in this physical realm here. You have to take it and turn it for something good. Okay, so like for example, the people in Jamaica with Melissa, you turn that into something good. Don't go crying and begging Kentucky and talking about Kentucky is supposed to give you fried chicken for free and all of these things. Bill Gates and them smiling because that the game they playing and all of you. So you say, oh, billionaire helping Jamaica going to rebuild. They wanted was to take that and make it. As a matter of fact, Andrew Binon say he gonna make it a smart city. We call it Saint Elizabeth. He didn't say he gonna make Saint Elizabeth. Well, in my country, the one down here to say he make it a modern city, but he say a smart city, the same thing. Okay, it's just investors interested in investing. You understand? So Jamaica, Africa, all these places, I have a certain connection with these places. So, and I know. So someone coming and go, oh, you ever traveled? Bob Marley always knew there's a natural mystic flowing in the air. Bob Marley was a hybrid too. So when you talk about Bob Marley, you have to know that was the son of a British white man. Okay. Someone's ancestors are real. Of course, we are real. One love. One love to you too. Someone say Osiris. And the way talking about, a lot of people just talk about Osiris, but they never had the experience. A lot of people talk about Horus, but they never had the experience. A lot of people could quote a lot of books. Thank you for mentioning, man. Osiris. Yeah, the children crying. Someone say, you are 100% correct, my brother, regarding the land grab that they plan for Jamaica and other islands, which will not succeed as their system is going to collapse. Yeah, look, if Rome fall, every superpower fall, anything that go up have to come down. Don't make nobody fool you. Look, right now, Trump and them so bold face, they're coming out and tell you, look, we see and we conquer. Plain and straight. They ain't playing no more games again. You understand? They're telling you plain and straight. You could go back on the internet and get so much clips with Trump talking about the reserves and that they have in Venezuela and should have done take it long time. Not just here alone, many other politicians in America been talking about how they should have done take away what Venezuela have long time to strengthen the empire. They're not hiding anymore. So why people hiding to speak the truth because they want YouTube money? I ain't gonna do that. I quickly give them a middle finger. I ain't gonna do that. I know what it's like to cook on wood fire. I know what it is like to eat at a black pot. You come bribe with money at this age, eh? Come on, man. That's why they catch the young boys and them in the early 20s and so on and give them, make them sign contract and so on, catch them in the music industry, catch them in the entertainment industry, and so on. That's why I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. Someone say Bob Marley warned the world about hurricanes by singing "There's a Natural Mystic Blowing Through the Air." Okay. I said about Bob Marley. Okay, remember Bob Marley, father, the white man from England, eh? Okay, that's all I had to say. Okay, you read between the lines. Sometimes some people get certain teachers from very small and they make you think it's when they grow up they realize something and all of that. But anyway, okay, that's why I'm against hybridization. Doesn't matter who are vexed with me. As a black man, keep your seed pure. Okay, don't mix it. Someone say he's a coward. Well, you can't be a coward. I'd rather die a hero than a coward. Human scale. Okay, about 2 more minutes. I can't read all the comments here. I also believe, as you, my brother, that religion removes our power. Of course, it denies your spirituality as it is outside ourselves. Of course, if we connect to the power within, nothing could ever harm us physically. Speak, my brother, real truth. And this is exactly the truth, and this is what they don't want you to know. That's why they never teach you about mystics. Okay? Because when mystics come among you, they have to teach you to look within yourself. They have to teach you to believe in yourself. When a true mystic come around, he doesn't mind. You understand? Even if he's been killed for what he's speaking, he don't care. That's what I'm telling you. There's so much of men they're showing you on the internet now. Jacobo, Greenberg, and I can't remember some of the names and so on. And these are people they say kill, but notice they're not showing no melanated ones. Yeah, something is wrong, They're showing all of these people trying to tell you these people were mystics, these people were enlightened, they said this, they talk about this man Talbot, all of these kind of people, but they never show a melanated person, Just like when they show men who became enlightened and all of that, show you Sadhguru, they show you Muji, they show all of these people that are showing a melanated person. They must think people stupid, people waking up. All the Bible story they show they're white. Everything they show in white. Time people going to wake up. People must wake up. Speak to others like you speaking to a baby. Yes, simplifying it, man. Because I never get it from a book. Okay, someone says here, my guru blessing, OG, so happy to chat and alive. Thank you, bro. Okay. Mad Guru, are you saying storm and hurricanes and even earthquake are spiritually and not natural? Of course, I am saying that. Everything is spiritual and being expressed in this physical dimensional world. Believe you me, if many of us could come together, look, if melanated people could only come together, if there could be one united Africa, okay, me have to tell you the rest. If there could be one united Africa, I don't have to tell you the rest. If there could be one united Caribbean, I don't have to tell you the rest. If enough minds could come together to bring a storm, don't make nobody fool you, bro. How is it? How is it they could build what do you think that Israel built to say they stopping missile from coming in? How they could build that then? But they can't prepare people for hurricane and these things. Man, people wake up now, man. Someone say drop in the gems. Only those who have the gem inside of them go realize when someone drop in gem. The deep call it to the deep and only the deep could respond. That's why I make sure say for people who evolve. Me and I was talking to any and everybody. So be clear with your channel name. Are you black? Are you mad? Are you guru? Anything. You can't be anyone. Because they make you believe that guru is referring to a man in India. But yet they turn around and they call people who live in these parts West Indians. Oh, my work is to confuse some while I enlighten some. Yeah. And I was speaking in parables. And only some will understand and some will never understand. Can I speak my work here? And I'm quoting from Osho. Okay? Because Osho was definitely an enlightened one. And Reagan government poisoned Osho. You tell me one wizard ain't gonna recognize another wizard? You know wizard is a wise man. They tell you wizard are evil people. And they tell you which are evil people too. Wise people with churches to kill. Osho say, my work here is to confuse you. Confuse certain people. Okay, facts. Somebody say, oh, what should we do in these times? Go within. Someone say subscribe. I did. Thank you for the subscription. If they will show it up. Greetings, King. BlackMadGuru, may your wisdom continue to flow, that others may rise because of your bright light. Thank you very much. Only those who have light would recognize light. There is no need for Africa or Caribbean islands to be begging for assistance. Well said, my brother. If I was so, let me give you a hug, man. Let me give you a hug right there. Right in the spiritual realm, man. I give you a hug. I send a lot of blessing your way too, my brother. All we need to do is unite and put greed and dependency aside. Oh my. You're touching something inside of me, man. That's all we need. And I just mentioned it that little while ago there. And the person's asking, what do we do in these times? Go within. There's no other place. Okay, I think this is the last comment down here. Good. Someone said hi. I say hi to you back. And someone said it is called the Iron Dome. Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. Okay, they build an Iron Dome, this, that. They're building bunkers for people to hide. But they can't build homes. That's not going to shatter it. Come on, man. I'm going to end here. People wake up. They build an Iron Dome and they can't build they're building bunkers, all things, and they can't build homes to protect you from a category 5. And you know they're doing, they keep strengthening the category, you know. They keep, you know, I remember back in time they used to tell you 75 miles an hour is a hurricane, and that's where you used to get back. But when you start to create certain things like sound and all of these things, because more power they want. Okay, and with this AI race now, more energy harvesting, keeping the people more dumb. Because AI is to keep the people even more dumb, you know. You're going to depend on the machine. Just yesterday, I was having a conversation with a man who was telling me how much a potential his son have to be a great athlete. But he telling me, they say, we're holding me hand here. Speaking to you from a cell phone. He said that's how I control his son. Because when he started to tell me something about his son, knowing that I is a person who's always physically fit, look at me. No juice there, no steroids, nothing. That's the white man poison, steroids. I put them on my body. Okay? And so on, he checked me for like personal training and so on and all of that for himself. And he was checking me with his sons. His son's like an athlete that is rising and things that could go, you know, to places like just like Bolt and all of them and so on, right? But he facing injuries and so on. And the man was shocked when I started to ask him certain things like how much sleep he does get, you know what I mean, how much he does hydrate himself and all of these things. The man was like, Chad, you're right, and did that. This man take all about 3 hours sleep and all this thing. I said, man, I know. Then he started telling me the machine. Okay. So my brother and my sisters, there's so much, you know, to share. But I definitely gonna end here, and I'm gonna read this comment where this person say, my brother, if those here are unable to see and feel the power that's flowing in and through you, they are truly asleep. Well said, my brother. Because I know that I wake up out of the dream, and this life is a dream. And I know the more melanated people wake up out of this dream, they will see the enemy who's pretending to be a friend. And the enemy is not a person. The enemy is not bad, you know. The enemy is to teach you polarity. Let me end here. The enemy is to teach you polarity. Get that, no man. Polarity. You can't have light without darkness. You can't have sun people without ice people. I will end with that. So, with that being said, my brother, my sisters, I just want to say peace. Love you all. I'm out.